Hi everyone, in this video I'm showing you how to fold the second version of the chiaroscuro square that has the two squares, but I'll be showing you how to fold it without folding the full grid first so it doesn't have any extra creases. If you haven't watched the other video yet, make sure you go watch that one first, otherwise this one will be difficult to follow. I'll link to that other video right here as well as down in the description. This video assumes you watched the last video and that you were able to fold it, so I go a lot faster and use less explanations. So let's get down to it. Now we're going to start by creasing this diagonal a little bit. Just a little bit in the center. And then with the other diagonal, we'll make a very small pinch just to mark the center of the paper. Just as small as you can. Now that we have that marked, we'll go back to the other diagonal and we're going to bring the bottom right corner into the center. Crease that one all the way across, and the same with the top left corner. And then we can unfold those. And now that we have the midpoints marked on each of the four edges, then we can make the outer square of those two squares we'll be making in the middle. So we'll bring the bottom edge up to the center. Then we'll start the crease from where this diagonal is, and then we'll bring it over about this much, and then we'll rotate and do the same thing here. Starting from this crease, and then it should meet the other crease. If you didn't do that just right, then you can go back and make sure they meet up and end right where the other crease is. Then we'll rotate and do that again. Now we can make all the rest of the creases outside of that square. So I'm going to rotate this. We're going to fold the bottom corner up to where all these creases meet here. Same with the top. Then we'll unfold. Now we'll bring that bottom corner into the intersection on the top. And then unfold. Do the same thing with the top corner. And as we do this, we're just making sure none of these creases go inside of that square that we made. Now that center diagonal. Then we can turn this over. Now we'll form this mountain fold and bring it up to the crease above it. Now we can bring the bottom corner up, keeping it in the center. Now we'll form this whole crease and then bring it up to the crease above it. Again, making sure not to go inside of this square. And I'll unfold all of that. Now we'll bring that corner all the way up. And we'll just take this crease and line it up so it aligns with the crease underneath it. And the corner should touch this top crease. And we'll rotate and repeat all of those steps. Now we'll turn that back over. And I'll rotate it like this. Now these next two creases will be inside of this square. So we'll bring this bottom corner up to the top corner of that inner square. and then we'll crease it just along the outer creases on that square and unfold. Then do that same thing on the top. Then rotate a little bit. Now we have the creases in place to make the inner square. So we'll bring this bottom edge up to the top crease on the outside square. We'll hold that in place, and then we'll start this crease right from the crease we made in the previous step. And it goes over just a little bit. Then rotate and do the same thing. This time we'll be starting from the crease here and meeting the crease we just made. Make sure those line up. And rotate and do that 2 more times. Now that we have the inner square in place, we're going to make all the rest of the creases that are inside of that. So these will just be extensions of creases we already have. So we're going to form the diagonal, and we already had this one in place during our very first step, but we just want to make sure this extends right to the edges or the corners of that square. Just the corners of the inner square. And then we'll turn it over. And we'll start the crease that's right next to the diagonal. And then we're going to just skip the area that's between these 2 squares and form the crease on the inner square. Just hold the paper like that and then make that small crease in the middle. And then do the same thing with the crease that's on the other side of the diagonal. Now we're going to make the rest of the creases that are between those 2 squares. So we'll start with the one connecting these 2 valley folds. Now this corner goes right to the corner of the inner square. We'll just repeat that with the top left corner. Now we'll fold this over. And this one, you just have to look at the creases underneath and make sure you're lining it up properly. Then we'll turn it over, and then the final crease will be right on the diagonal. Now we have all the creases in place, we just need to collapse everything. And with this process, you just do it a little bit at a time. So these are the easy ones, so we'll just get those creased. And then you just have to rotate the paper as you're working the creases. If you already folded this with the full grid, you should understand how it works. So just want to go really slowly to make sure you don't add any unnecessary creases as you're doing this. Just nice and slow, just ease the creases into place. Just rotate when you need to. Just look closely and watch what's happening. The one thing to watch out for is as you're collapsing it, don't press firmly on this area right here, because when that opens up, it will cause a crease that runs all the way out to this corner that you don't want. So when we're trying to firm up the creases underneath, hold your finger to the outside. You can close it up like that. So I'm still making the creases firm that are underneath it. but without making this crease that would run right here. And there it is. We'll just open that up. I did that a little quickly, so there's a couple wrinkles in it, but that looks pretty good to me.